In this first video we're going to focus on CaraPost basic features and UI. So first things first, let's load the software. Okay, so we're presented with some various windows and views. Here we've got our camera view. Down here we've got our selected point view, which will show us the quality of a single point. We've got our log view, which gives us feedback as to what we're doing and any kind of warnings. And over here we've got our properties and parameters panes for changing various settings on processes that we're going to apply throughout these various videos. So just for an example, I'm going to load a range of motion file that's been labelled, and you can see here that it's just loaded a single camera view. Now this is actually from a multi-camera capture, so we've got some camera view options across here. We've got single, two-way and four-way splits, so I'm going to go with a four-way horizontal split view. So here you can see our 4 different camera channels have all been loaded now. Okay, so in terms of navigating around CaraPost, it's fairly standard with other Vicon products, so we can do Alt and right mouse and we can zoom in. If we do Alt and left and right mouse, we can track. And if we're looking at a 3D view, so if I go View, New Floating Workspace here, and come up with a 3D view, if I use Alt and left mouse button, we can pan around the data. Okay, so I'm going to close that window for now. In each of our 4 camera views, you can simply reset the view by clicking on the split again. You can hide and show various camera view options. So down here we could hide the image if we wanted to. We could hide projections. Now projection is the projection of a 3D point back into the 2D camera views. So here we can see each 2D point has been blob fitted and tracked and associated. Whereas if we turn projections back on, we can see this little yellow point. Now that's showing us the position reprojected back onto that marker. So we can see it's very close in terms of where it expects it to be relative to the actual point in 2D. We can also do some things like measure between markers here, so I can click Start Measurement and I can drag a line between 2 markers, and this is showing me the distance in pixels, 72 between those markers, which is quite useful when you're making parameter adjustments across here. We can right click and we can clear that measurement, and those are the various right click options within your camera views. Now if we go back to our 3D view, so View, New Floating Workspace, here we've got some similar settings with our right click view. We can hide cameras, we can hide various things like the face points if we wanted to, or the brim points on our data. But we can also change this view. So up here we can change to either a sensor view or we can change to the continuity chart. Now the continuity chart's incredibly useful for seeing the overall quality of the data across the take. So if I select a marker here, we can see green here is healthy data. It's got 4 cameras contributing to create the 3D point, so it's really nice data. Here you can see there's a gap in the data and the quality's dropped to kind of light green. Here you've got 2 cameras not contributing, so it drops to yellow. Yellow's still fine though, we're still happy with that. The things we want to look for are these kind of orange gaps here, and then any red gaps. Now an orange gap is when only a single camera can see a point, or a red gap is when no cameras can see the data. So we know there's a problem there. Now if I scrub the timeline here, oh by the way, when you see the camera image go dark, don't worry, it's just the processing of the videos across the 4 different channels. It's the computer trying to keep up. So I can see here when it goes red, the point is actually disappearing in the data because the mark has been occluded. So if I step through with the left and right arrow, we can see the point here. Here's our blob, which is healthy. Now it drops to a patch. Now a patch is represented in light blue. As you can see in the view here, a patch is essentially a pattern recognition that the CaraPost software drops down to if it can't find a blob. It's actually incredibly useful. So you can see here the contrast between our marker and the skin is very, very slight. So we've got a nice blob, then we've got a patch, and then we've got nothing. Well, we've actually got the projection of where CaraPost thinks this mark is going to be, and this is shown in orange because we've got a single camera contributing here, and then it drops to red when there's no camera. So this is another way of seeing where CaraPost thinks that marker should be, which we'll look at in the gap filling process further in these videos. Okay, the final thing I wanted to show you was the graph view. So if you click on a marker and right click and choose fit to data, we can see the X, Y and Z positions of the marker across time, and we can check for noise and other things that graph views are useful for in terms of data quality checking. Okay, so I think that's going to be it for this first Cara user video. In the next step we're going to look at taking a raw captured ROM file and initializing the brim points and then starting to create some 3D markers. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.